Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome again to another live this morning, question and answer Friday. Always a fun day. And I want to say hello to a few folks as we are in the habit of doing. So who's number one on the hit? Brahim, Portland, Oregon. Rosa, Kevin. Do you know that you guys in Nativity are some of my favorite people in all the world? Francis Marie, Micheline, favorite people in all the world. Wendy from Markham, Annette, Nouveau Brunswick, Mary. Yep. Anne, how are you? Tecumseh. Been there. Francis. Flo. And Wendy from London, Ontario. Stephanie, good morning. Marlene, good morning. Germaine, how are you? Denise from Kansas City, Missouri. Jeanette from our staff. Nick from our staff, back to back. Fran from Orangeville, good morning. Leanne from Kitchener, how are you? Georgie, Halifax. See, I know that already. Jeanette, bonjour. Renee, how are you? Helen and Donna, good morning from Park Hill. Guys, have I told you? Oh, not supposed to sing. Anne, how are you? Jean, Diane, okay. Barbara from Atlanta. Good morning, everyone. Okay, a couple more and let's get going. And Sandy, I was waiting on you from Washington State. Adeline. Deanna, good morning. April, good morning to you. Deb from Motown, welcome. Rita. And Judy from Alberta. And Donna from Bell Valley. So we have a couple of Donnas on. Deanna, good morning. Annette, good morning. Salut, salut. Joanne from Sudbury. Carol, London. Guys, I know I missed so many of you. Rose, good morning. And Sue, good morning. Suzanne, Kapuskasing, up near the North Pole. Jackie and Regina. Arlene. Okay, let's get going. Wendy's asking a question. Any suggestions besides Himalayan salt to keep minerals balanced? I think my body is more acidic since I have issues with kidney stones. Well, Wendy, let me tell you where kidney stones are coming from. There's two types of kidney stones. There's oxalates and uric acid. Okay? 75% of all kidney stones are oxalates. So, oxalates are, and I got another question about this, so I'll go into it after too a little bit. Spinach, rhubarb, almonds, chocolate, sesame seeds, baked potatoes, and maybe others are oxalates. Spinach. And a lot of people don't realize that oxalates form kidney stones. Now, if you feel your body is acidic, I'm big on minerals. You guys know that. I'm very big on minerals. So that's why I like Himalayan salt, because you put a little bit of salt, a little pinch of salt in your water, and now you have very alkaline water. That's how water becomes alkaline. The more minerals in it, the more alkaline it is. So to add that, you might take a supplement of electrolytes or what they call trace minerals. You can do that, Wendy. But the other thing is, if you're dealing with kidney stones, you got, and I think you're doing this, Wendy, but I don't know. You better make sure you're drinking enough water. You got to flush. Kidneys are Niagara Falls. okay? And what makes you acidic? What makes a person acidic? Not, it's not tomatoes or whatever, acidic foods, and it ain't meat. It is acidity in the body, sugar. There's nothing that will make you more acidic than crappy carbs and sugars. So to become more alkaline, you might look, if you feel, take trace minerals. You'll never go wrong with that. Himalayan salt, maybe add more of it. But I like an electrolyte. I take an electrolyte. I add salts even more for me because I easily dehydrate. So when I go to the gym and work out, I often will take some electrolytes and put it in my water. Okay? So they're good for you. Okay? Gertie, how do I know if my estrogen and progesterone is balanced? How long are supplements needed for endometriosis and hypothyroid with severe hair loss? Well, Gertie, you got to be your own doctor there. Okay? And what I mean by that is this. Especially with estrogen and progesterone, because it's so complex, because a woman, there's so many factors. And I'm just going to get out this little chart again for you, Gertie. This is a chart that I show to my patients. I used to show this to my patients all the time. I actually had this made up in my office, okay? And it was a pyramid. Where the heck did I put it now? Here it is. Okay, I did this, I can't even remember, a couple of days ago. Okay, see my notepad? I live on my yellow notepads, okay? That's just the way I operate. See that pyramid? So let me go over Gertie again for you, okay? Because there's a lot of things happening. What makes a woman different is at the bottom of the pyramid, you got ovaries, estrogen and progesterone. And ladies, even if you've had a hysterectomy, God has given you part B or plan B. And guess what takes over? Your adrenals to make estrogen and progesterone. Even if you get, doc, I don't have any more ovaries. Doesn't mean you're still not a woman. You're a woman. You got plan B. Okay? You're going to make estrogen, progesterone. And, but what I'm saying is this, Gertie, okay? Because all of this is involved in your endocrine system, okay? Your thyroid, you already talked about that. Your ovaries, your adrenals, halfway up that pyramid. And in the middle of the pyramid, I draw another circle. That is your pancreas. That's your insulin. That is food. It's got to be balanced. Ladies. So Gertie, if you are still getting symptoms, if you are still getting like hair loss and endometriosis, all of those things, you're out of balance. And estrogen is the culprit. Oh, doc, my estrogen's going down. But it's always in relation to your progesterone. And blood tests for that, you can send them to me because I have a little formula I look at. But they don't test those things properly. So you have to go for symptoms. If your symptoms are still there, you're out of whack. And, figure out what is the number one problem, because that's important. If you go, and Gertie, maybe you've done this and maybe you haven't, I don't know. But we have on our website, the storm, the hormonal storm. And we sort of give you a quiz to figure out which one is out of balance more than anything else. And some people, it's all of the above, if you're really in bad shape. Okay? So, good question. Shirley, EPA always goes with DHA. Yep. What is the role of EPA and DHA? Look, if you Google it, okay, I don't necessarily agree with this. EPA and DHA, first of all, number one, where do you find them? They're only in the animal kingdom. Now you have other omega-3s like ALA. That's in the plant kingdom. Okay? So when you look at fish, you look at steak, you look at eggs, you have in the animal kingdom is where you found your EPA and DHA. Now, why do I always talk to you about DHA? Because DHA is the longer chain fatty acid. The longer, the better. ALA is a little wee one, EPA is bigger, and DHA is a lot bigger. And over the years, and research is confirming this, well, first of all, your brain, 60% of it is made of DHA. Okay? Omega-3. And the best is DHA. Now, EPA is good. Don't get me wrong. EPA is good. It's good for you. And if you Google it, it'll say DHA is from the head up. Okay? Like, it's so good for your brain. Okay? And your eyes. And then, this is on Google, Dr. Google. It will say that EPA is from the head down. So it's better for your heart. I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that. Again, I like EPA. Please don't misunderstand what I'm saying. DHA is because it is the longer chain, it's more bioavailable. So this is why I love high DHA. From your brain to your toes. That's how good it is for you. EPA is good. And actually, there is a medication called Vasipa that, you pay about $400 a month for it. You need it by prescription. Doctors are not prescribing it very much yet, but it is all EPA to get your triglycerides down. And again, I like it. I got no problem with it. I just find for me, DHA is better. And I've proven it to thousands of patients over the years. From their brain to their toe. Remember, omega-3, someone calls you fathead, take it as a compliment. Okay? To protect your brain, but it protects your heart too. It protects your joints. It protects your guts. It lubricates. It is such a good oil. Shirley, thanks for the question. Why does it say not to take vitamin D on blood thinners? I think 2 people asked that question. Mary, I'll tell you why. Because, well, first of all, on vitamin D, there's no reason on God's earth why you wouldn't take, even if you're on a blood thinner, to take vitamin D. But you have to understand that when you operate in Canada, okay, and some places in the United States in a sense, okay, I answered this question yesterday to someone because they said, Dr. Martin, do you make your own products in your basement? No, I don't. Okay. Look, I don't think the person was being facetious. They wanted to know our manufacturing process. Now, let me tell you this, because I think it's important to understand that. Our products are approved by Health Canada. Now, for natural products, Health Canada, I don't know if you knew this or not, is the #1 most stringent, most difficult for natural products to get approved. And when they're approved, they also approve the manufacturing process, meaning that in Canada, first of all, you cannot sell supplements that are not approved by Health Canada. You can't. 2, the manufacturing process is regulated by Health Canada. And they have the toughest rules in all of the world. In all of the world. And I was involved, go back years and years and years ago, originally on giving recommendations to Health Canada how they would approve the process, and to give them numbers. So every product has a number registered with Health Canada. And their manufacturing, boy, oh boy, they're tough with that. So, but the other thing that Health Canada does, okay, to make a long story shorter, it's still long, is vitamin D. There's a war on vitamin D. Okay, there really is. I've been talking about that for a long time. Vitamin D, because it's so popular with people, like the College of Physicians and Surgeons, the Health Canada, warning about vitamin D. Now look, guys, okay? I don't want to tell you that I like Health Canada, that they do their job, but they don't understand even the importance of vitamin D and how it even works, okay? I'm just sorry to say that, but that's the truth. So they're extra cautious, extra for no reason. Vitamin D doesn't affect a blood thinner, but in Canada, you have labels are controlled. Did you know that? Labels are controlled by Health Canada. So you got to put what they tell you to put on there. Now, let me just say this, because I think somebody asked that. What about our vitamin D? Because we put vitamin K2. And then they tell you, well, if you're on a blood thinner, either don't take it or consult with your doctor. Okay? Now, listen. Here's the problem with Health Canada. Again, okay? They're mistaking vitamin K1 with K2. Now, not that K2 can't help in clotting, okay? It can. But it's much different than K1. Where do you find K1? In the plant kingdom. Where do you find K2? In the animal kingdom. It's only found in the animal kingdom. And the more and more research they do on vitamin K2, the more they realize how good it is. You know, for many reasons, your immune system and your brain, and it takes calcium out of your arteries and puts it where it belongs. That's the significance of vitamin K2. Guys, I've been talking about vitamin K2 for many years. I always used to tell people, don't listen when they tell you not to eat butter, and don't listen when they tell you not to eat cheese. Don't listen, because it's full of vitamin K2 and you have no idea how good that is for you. Okay? So that's the reason. They're always talking about clotting, and when you're on an anti-clotter, like a blood thinner, okay? But look, they're being extra cautious. I understand it. I wish I was on their committees because I would enlighten them. But you have to understand, Health Canada, first of all, they don't like natural products. But I give them credit. I give them credit. They're reasonable in the sense that they approve natural products. And that's good. In the United States, the FDA, they don't do that. They don't approve anything. If it's not a medication, they don't approve it. And so what happens in the States, unless the FTC, okay, the Federal Trade Commission gets involved, when you make claims that, you know, and they can go after you in the States, when you make claims that you can't substantiate. But Health Canada is different, and they're really the the number one country in the world when it comes to natural products. There's no country as good as Canada is, okay? And I hope it stays that way. But there's a lot of pressure on Health Canada even to, if you let the College of Physicians and Surgeons and whatever, they would eliminate all supplements. All of them. And that's a terrible thing. Okay? Now, okay, that was Mary. Teresa, does A1C optimal change with age? Nope. A1C, I like 4.8 approximately. A1C is a measurement, okay? Glycated hemoglobin. Sugar attaches to a red blood cell, the hemoglobin in it. And they measure that over a 3-month period. That's how they take an A1C test. I love A1C. I do. Because it really gives me an early indication. If you are 5.4 and up, you have insulin resistance. No doubt about it in my mind. Okay? No doubt about it. But that doesn't affect Teresa age. Because a lot of kids have high A1C. A lot of kids. Because they're junk eaters. And I like A1C better than blood sugar. Because blood sugar is a lagging indicator. Remember what I told you about the traffic cop. Insulin doesn't allow sugar to stay in the bloodstream. It won't. Can't park. Did you like my little teaching the other day on the 2 traffic cops? One of them is insulin, won't allow sugar in there. And the other one is vitamin K2 because it doesn't allow calcium to stay in your blood vessels. Isn't that good? You got 2 traffic cops. Okay. Chantal, could Dr. Martin explain lipoprotein A on Friday? Okay, well, here we go, Chantal. Thanks for asking the question. Now, you just let me rant for a minute, okay? Lipoprotein A is a measurement of another, look, all of your cholesterol is circulating, okay? It's circulating. That's normal. You want it circulating. Cholesterol ain't the boogeyman. Okay? And years ago, they had what they call LDL. Believe me, when I was in school in the 60s and 70s, who cared about LDL? Who cares? But it became a big thing, taught in medical schools, taught everywhere. Cholesterol was bad, and the bad cholesterol was called LDL, okay? Now, lipoprotein, okay, is protein, lipo, fat. Fat and protein, okay, carry, A is a form of a carrier of LDL. And they want to measure it because they want to put you on medication. Okay? And look, I can't tell you or anyone else not to take a medication. I won't do that. We just spent 3 days. And you can go back. There'll be podcasts by next week. And listen, Linda, to what I talked about. Heart disease, and we went into a pretty good dive, and we talked about aspirin, because when you talk about prevention, aspirin thins your blood. And we talked about that. It doesn't prevent heart disease. We thought it did. The world thought it did. But the FDA said, don't say that, aspirin, because you can't prove that. And unless you've had a heart attack, the FDA says you shouldn't be on aspirin. We talked about that this week. And then the other one was statin drugs. Number one selling in terms of revenue is a medication called Lipitor. It lowers your LDL. Okay? It lowers that. But that hasn't made a dent. Okay? It hasn't made a dent, Chantal. Not even a dent in heart disease. Heart disease is worse today than it ever was. In spite of, I don't know what I read, people over 65, I think it's 50 or 60% of the people over 65 are on a statin drug. 20% of the population, especially over 65, are on aspirin every day. And they think it's preventing things. I'm sorry. The results are in. They've been around a long time. Aspirin, as you know, has been around forever. And statin drugs have been around for a long time. And they've had all these years to study. And doctors still recommend them. And they don't work. So when you ask me to discuss lipoprotein A, it is a form of a carrier of LDL, and it's a measurement. They want to get into the weeds and put people on medication. We talked about in the last few days how to prevent heart disease, how we looked at what they've been doing. We look at, I talked to you one day about all the vitamins, from vitamin water to vitamin O, okay, omega-3, DHA, from vitamin C, coffee, from vitamin D, because it elevates nitric oxide. Remember all the vitamins? Vitamin K2. That's much better for your heart. Why? Because it takes calcium out of your blood vessels. And don't take cholesterol. Why do you want to take cholesterol out of your blood vessels? It's like blaming the police because they're at the crime scene. But police are not the bad guys. Or blaming the firemen because they're at the fire. The firemen are not the bad guys. The fire's the bad guy. Get it? So, look, I know every week I'm going to get asked about this. I know it because it's in the world's psyche. You can't. I am not optimistic, not even for a second, Chantal, that we're going to change anybody's mind. No, wait a minute. Anybody at the top, that we're going to change their minds. They have a narrative. It's part of their psyche. It's part of medical school training. And believe you me, it is not easy to change people's thinking because cholesterol's the boogeyman. Cholesterol's the boogeyman. Cholesterol causes heart disease. No, it doesn't. Because if it did, we'd be winning the war. We're losing the war. People have been duped. What can I say other than that? And you guys know me, okay? Maybe you don't, Chantal, but other people know me. I've been saying this for as long as I've been in practice in 2024, it'll be 50 years. And, you know, put years of schooling before and after. Okay, good question. Good question. Sherry. Oh, I want to sing, Sherry. You have no idea. Can Dr. Martin talk about shingles, cause and prevention? Well, shingles is the herpes virus. It's called herpes zoster. Okay? Why do they give such stupid names? Herpes zoster. What's that? Anyways, that's shingles. And shingles ain't no fun. And I actually might do this next week because there's a new study out showing that if you get shingles, okay, herpes zoster, you're 30% more likely to have a heart attack. Now, just give me a sec, because I might go into more detail, okay? Just a study came out, yesterday, I think. I read it. Okay? Now, shingles, how do you get that? Well, all of us have the herpes virus when you got the chicken pox, okay? And it's actually good for you. You get the chicken pox, invite all your friends, so make sure everybody gets the chicken pox. Then you build immunity. And when your immune system is good, that virus lays dormant. It don't do nothing. Now, people that get cold sores, that's herpes. Okay? That's a herpes. That's called herpes simplex. Okay? How does that happen? The immune system. And let me just say this about all herpes. Okay? They usually come out in a perfect storm, meaning that you add decreased immune system and increased stress, and guess what happens? A lot of times that herpes comes out, can come out as shingles. I see shingles much, much more today than I used to see it, okay? And shingles ain't no fun, my friend. Shingles ain't no fun. But one of the things that I found, okay, I'll just give you a couple of things. One, because I used to measure cortisol. Their cortisol was through the roof. And now you're susceptible. Your immune system goes down because cortisol is the fight or flight. It's not worried about your immune system. Cortisol is getting you ready to fight or flee, not rest and digest. Do you know what I mean? Because you have, your body should be resting and digesting instead of fighting and fleeing, unless someone scares you. But that is what is in the equation. That's why that virus gets activated. Herpes zoster, shingles. And you can get a vaccine on that and all that. What do I think of that? Not going to say much. Okay? I'm a big guy, guys, on immune system. One of the things that I find with people in shingles, they're low in vitamin D. They're low in B12. They are low in vitamin S, steak. They don't eat steak. Where you get your vitamin A. They don't eat enough eggs. They don't eat enough cheese. They don't. That's what I usually find. That's what I usually found. Remember, I was in practice clinical nutrition. I had real patients for a real long time. Okay? And I was a tester. I want to do your testing. I love biomarker testing. Okay? Now, and good question. Okay, well, Elma, we talked about this. Your question is, my neighbor doesn't have a computer. Okay. How to prevent clogged arteries? Well, if you don't take statins. Okay. And is a non-statin as dangerous as statin? Look, I really want you to listen to this week's Facebooks and podcasts. Okay. That's what I would tell you, Elma. And if someone has notes, because remember I told you to get out your notepads, maybe we could pass that on to Elma, and Elma, you can pass it on to your friend that doesn't have a computer. So if they don't have a computer, I imagine they don't have a smartphone so they can listen to my podcast. Okay? And that's all right. Okay? That's all right. But I don't want to go through all of it, but I've talked about some of those answers this morning already. Okay, thanks, Elma. And if you want Elma to come afterwards, send my staff an email or a note somehow, and then we can maybe direct you on how to get that information. Okay? Sarah, does coffee stunt your growth? No, it don't. Okay? I think I have 3 questions on coffee this morning. Does it stunt your growth? No. Coffee's good for you. 1,000 phytonutrients. 500 times more powerful than ascorbic acid. That's coffee. Now, somebody was asking about, let me just ask who said it. Somebody asked about it. What about coffee? Oh, Chaz. Chaz or Jazz? Chaz. Chazz. Dr. Martin speaks of vitamin C coffee as it's strictly focusing on caffeine. No, it's not the caffeine, my friend. Okay? It's not the caffeine. It's the bean. It's the bean. So if you get caffeine, decaffeinated, you're still getting the bean. Now, I like the Swiss water, and somebody asked the question, I'll probably hit it on the way down here. What about Swiss water? Well, that's the best way to filter the caffeine out of coffee. It's called Swiss water process. It's very gentle. You're not losing any of the phytonutrients in the coffee bean. Okay? So coffee does not stunt your growth. Coffee does not make you acidic. Coffee does not dehydrate you. Okay, it doesn't. Now, if you drink coffee all day, of course it will. What's the sweet spot of coffee? You guys should know this. 4 cups. I'm telling you, the research is incredible on coffee. It's incredible. And when a doctor tells you, well, that was the question. That was another question. Wait a minute. Where did I see this? Oh, Deb. Right after Sarah. My doctor told me to stop drinking coffee because it causes breast tissue to become fibrous. No, it don't. It is so powerful, it is actually helpful with breast cancer. There's studies on coffee and breast cancer, how it decreases your risk of breast cancer. It is a powerful, powerful antioxidant. It protects your breast cells. You know, again, I'm going to come back to oxalates. I actually wrote this in my new book. Oxalates are often found in breast tissue. That's what makes breast tissue so fibrous. How do you get oxalates? Spinach, rhubarb, almonds, sesame seeds, baked potatoes, chocolate. You can have a little bit. Okay? But I'm telling you, it ain't coffee. I don't know where your doctor got that. I've been studying coffee for over 40 years. I have. And when it started, the war on coffee started a long time ago. It was acidic. It's no good for you. Blah, 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 blah. You know how many times I heard that? And I was a defender of coffee. Nobody paid me any money to defend coffee. I always tell people, well, you owe me money. I used to tell that to the farmers. The farmers would come into my office, and I love farmers. And I said, you owe me money. What? Well, do you listen to my radio show? No. Well, you should, because you owe me money. I advertise for you all the time. I'm a farmer's best friend, and I'm a coffee maker's best friend. Okay? I've been saying it. And I gave it a vitamin category, and I eliminated one of them, ascorbic acid. I eliminated it. I said, ascorbic acid, yeah, it's all right. I've seen all the research on vitamin C, the other one, but it don't mount up to coffee. It doesn't. Okay? It doesn't. And I know it's very popular for people to attack coffee, but it ain't true, my friend. Okay, very good. It don't stunt your growth, and it doesn't. It's the opposite when it comes to. Okay, and let me get to these quickly because I'm yapping this morning. Okay, Thelma, symptoms of a floating rib. Can a chiropractor help? You could try. Okay, you can try. Yeah, I'd get it looked at for sure. Debbie, reset. Is it best for detox? What are my thoughts on charcoal? Well, look, activated charcoal. Okay, it's not like charcoal that you have your barbecue and you have charcoal. Okay, there's activated charcoal is a powder, nonetheless, but your body absorbs it. Look, I know why they do it because, look, if you have an acute poisoning in the hospital, they'll give you glutathione and sometimes they'll give you activated charcoal. But you got to be careful with it, in my opinion, because it also blocks the absorption of nutrients. So I wouldn't use it. If you're going to use it, I like probiotics better. I think now there's so much research on probiotics. That is a better chelator than activated charcoal. Okay? So I used in my office, I was big on probiotics. Okay? Probiotics. And naturally elevating glutathione. That's why I love Navital so much. Because it elevates your glutathione. Glutathione is like Velcro in your bloodstream, and that will latch on to heavy metals and toxins. Your body makes it. And guess how you get glutathione too? From steak. And empty your liver. How do you empty your liver? Cut out the sugars and carbs. Okay? Good. Okay, Catherine or Maureen, diagnosed with progressive supranuclear palsy. That's a degenerative brain disease. Very serious. Usually stops a person from walking. And it's usually pretty, the word says it, progressive, not good. Now, I would do all of the above, like for the brain, okay? Hopefully it's not too late. High DHA, remember, brain, B12, check the vitamin D levels, everything for the brain. I like curcumin for the brain. Okay, Maureen, thanks for the question. Okay, Susanna, abdominal migraines. I haven't heard that term in a long time. Yeah, that was a term made up by medicine. When kids had a sore tummy, they get an abdominal migraine because they couldn't find the problem. But I was big on getting to the problem. Usually it was SIFO, small intestine. It was leaky gut plus a small intestine fungal overgrowth. And people that get abdominal migraines, like I said, I never liked that term. Why? They got a problem inside, and it's usually yeast, it's usually fungus, and that's why diet, and I was big on probiotics, even in children, because children can get leaky gut. A lot of times leaky gut in mommy gives leaky gut in baby. Okay, good question. Why would someone's ammonia levels be high? Liver, kidneys. They got a big problem. If your ammonia is too high, you're toxic. And that's liver, my friend, or kidney disease. So you got to get that tested. Okay? And John. Okay. Antioxidant like pine bark and curcumin. Can you take too much? Pine bark, no, because it's completely water soluble. Curcumin, it's not as water soluble. I'm not big on taking extremely high doses of curcumin because it's got to be a good curcumin. A lot of curcumin out there are not good because they're not absorbed. And turmeric, curcumin is an extract of turmeric, and curcumin I like, but it better be a good one. It better be a very absorbable. Otherwise, it's not good for you. But Navitol is completely water soluble, meaning if your body doesn't need it, it'll pee it out. Okay? It'll pee it out. So thanks for the question, John. Okay? Dr. Martin, okay, I got a couple of more. Berberine, what do I think of it? It's used mainly for blood sugar. Meh. I'll put up my insulin formula, which has, 6 different ingredients. See, I like combination of things. Okay, so berberine, yeah, I like it. I like our formula better. Okay, alpha lipoic acid, chromium. I put a B6 in there. I like our formula. I'm sorry. Okay, but no, berberine's all right though. Okay, it's all right. I just like something better. Okay, cinnamon. Okay, is in our formula. Very good for your blood sugar. Mary. Okay, I already talked about that. And Mary, just to answer, atrial fib, vitamin D with K2. See, I explained that, Mary. Okay, thanks for asking that question about vitamin D and K2. They mix it up with K1. Jennifer, can you talk about probiotics for colds and all that? Listen. Okay. I never want you to sniff drugs. Okay? Don't be a... But one of my treatments, okay? I kind of laugh because you look like you're sniffing drugs. So when you put powder on the table and you sniff it in, you know, like people will think, uh-oh, you're on cocaine. Okay, make sure everybody knows you're sniffing probiotics. But what I found to be an effective treatment, I love oil oregano, sinus, and I'm big on probiotics. And sniffing a little bit of that powder and okay, and you won't get high, but it really helps by getting those probiotics in the sinuses. Okay, but make sure everybody knows you're not on meds. I mean meds. You're not on drugs. You're not a druggie. Oh, okay. I think I answered all the questions. Okay. And see what I did? Now my nose is tickling. Okay. Now, guys, thank you very much for all the questions, and thank you, this audience. I can't get over how smart you guys are. I mean it. Even by the questions you have. You're smart. You're listening. And, oh, the burning tongue. Somebody said I missed it. You know what? Where did I get into it? I can't even remember who asked it. Burning tongue syndrome. Okay? Look, can be viral, including the herpes virus. Can be low B12. That's always mouth. Think of B12. Okay? Can be leaky gut. It can be leaky gut. Okay, so it can be viral. You have to look at it. You have to eliminate all that. You know, I usually look at the gut, leaky gut, mouth, B12, and could be viral. Could be that, even that herpes virus being activated without you even seeing it. Okay? I hope I didn't, I don't know how I missed it, but anyways, I did. Okay, guys, we love you guys. We'll talk to you soon.